Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I am your host, Alicia.
And I'm your host, Nikki.
And today we're going to just review one of our books that we've been reading. So, for people who don't know, Nikki and I, we love money. Yes. We love talking about money. We love reading about people who made a lot of money. We love investing. We love stocks and bonds and anything regarding money. We just love to research it and learn about it. So we started reading different books about money, and one of the first books we read is kind of like an oldie but goodie,
right.
And kind of controversial too. A lot of people have different views about this book, but we read it. It's Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. So we're just gonna give you our take on what we liked and didn't like, or things we got from the book.
Yeah. So what do you think about it overall?
Overall, the biggest thing the book did for me is change the way I thought about money.
Right.
So it was one of I always say this, I've been studying the rich since I was little. Like, for real. I've been like studying the rich since I was little. But when you don't grow up in a certain situation with a certain amount of money, you start thinking about money in different ways, and it seems unattainable. It seems like, you learn the formula of going to school, getting a job, getting money. And so certain ways that other people think about money and how to get money, you don't necessarily know or learn. And that's kind of why I guess he kind of described Rich Dad and Poor Dad. Like, you may grow up thinking this way, but somebody kind of opens your eyes to look at money in a different way.
Right.
And so that was one big thing I said the book did for me.
That's true. I do like how he compared, the rich dad, which was his best friend's dad, who, didn't have the college degree, but turned out to be a very good businessman. Whereas his dad, which he called the poor dad, he did go to school. He got the degree, he got the job, the house, the car, but he was in the rat race and was following the traditional rules of, you go to school, and you get a good job and you try to climb the ladder and you stay there for 20 plus years at this job, and it's more stability over financial independence, which is where I think today people are trying to get away from that. I know, at least I am, per se, because pensions aren't guaranteed anymore. Nowadays people don't stay at jobs 20 plus years anymore.
Like, not if you want to make some money.
right. Now it's more still as where am I going to make the money at? So I thought that was a good comparison that he did too, and how you did point out people were there were some kind of controversial views about the book, but I think people were thinking that he was writing a step-by-step how-to book, which I don't think that was his purpose. To me, I thought it was like a motivational book to show me a different way to look at money versus this tunnel view of I gotta get a job after I finish school and just keep staying in this race to make sure my bills are paid.
Right. And one thing that he pushed in the book that I kind of was already thinking before, but it kind of confirmed, it was about school and how you don't learn what you need to learn.
That's true.
For the real world in school, and how experience is what makes you smarter. He really went on to push that you should work to learn.
Right.
So not even necessarily working for money. And so it's funny because even in my nursing career, when I think I've mentioned this before, when I first started out, I didn't go to the bedside. I did other acute type of nursing, but it wasn't to the bedside.
Right.
But when I went to the bedside, I had to take a pay cut.
Right.
And so it was like, was I going to keep working outside of the hospital and in these acute specialties and where I was making more money, or was it more important to me to get that experience and to learn the things that I learned on the bedside, so that in the long run I could be a more well-rounded nurse and make more money? Sure. So that's what he talked about. And how do you feel about his views on traditional school and college?
Well, I mean, I still think everybody should go to school and get a degree. I mean, college is not for everybody. I do agree with that, but I still think you should have, a degree just to broaden. But I don't think necessarily that they equip us for the real world, like you said. I think it needs to be changed and and be revamped. Like, kids should learn about finances and entrepreneurship in school, because those are taxes, right? Because those are things that they're gonna need in the real world. Like, when you're done with school and you may have all this student debt, you gotta figure out how you're gonna pay for that. How are you gonna take care of yourself? How do you save money? Budgeting, like all that stuff needs to be taught in school, but it's not.
And speaking of debt, he had a kind of different view about debt. So he said when those bill collectors are calling you, that should be your motivation. So it's not even, his whole concept was to not spend your money on debt. So, not just saving money, not just paying all this debt out, but using the debt as motivation to go out and make more money.
Right.
So he just felt like, if there are things you want, if you can't purchase them, then you need to be motivated to make money other ways, whether it's real estate or investing. Mostly passive income is what he pushed.
Right.
And instead of working, like what he called the rat race, working these jobs, you get a certain amount of money, and then before you even pay yourself or invest in yourself, you're paying all these bills out, and then living off of the little bit of money that you have left, and then you're doing it over and over and over again. And so I really like that concept.
Yeah. Well, sorry to cut you off, but no, I do like how he kind of made the point of, instead of saying, oh, I can't afford that, it's, change the mindset. Okay, well, how can I afford it?
Right.
Like, get creative. Like, what can I do differently, instead of staying at the same job, thinking, okay, if I work more hours, then I'll be able to afford it. Because then you're still in the proverbial rat race. If it didn't work before, it makes you think it's going to work now.
Right. So all about changing your perspective about money. And it made me kind of feel like money, I don't know if this is going to make sense, but like money wasn't real.
Right.
And he kind of said that. Like, it's not real. And, it made me feel like it was like game points. Like when you playing a video game and you collecting points, and then you collecting another life once you get to a certain level. That's kind of how I started looking at money, like a game. And honestly, since I've changed my perspective on money, I've been able to take more chances. Be more bold and invested in myself and my future and my business, and not being foolish. I still go to work and I still do what I need to do to take care of me and my family, but I'm not afraid of losses as much, because it's money. Like, I can get it back. I have a brain. I have my health. That's all I need. It's all you really need, really. So
that's motivation to keep it. Of like, okay, if I lose this, then how am I gonna make this back? Instead of thinking like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose this. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna lose my house, my car, whatever. It's just changing the mindset, like you said. But I also like how he pointed out, looking at, he said, buy more assets instead of liabilities, and how we look at as what we used to look at a house as a asset. But it really is a liability, because all the money, your mortgage, the utilities, all the money that you're putting into your house. So, and unless you got your house paid off, and you're renting it out and you're generating income from it, then it's a liability.
Yep. And I know I've been taught that. I've heard that plenty of times, that your house is an asset, but it's not. If you're not making money from it, it's not an asset.
Right.
And so that really made me rethink about my bills and credit cards and purchasing things and making payments. Like, am I creating money from this, or am I spending more money out? And that's kind of how I look at, even when I make purchases, like, even if I buy something that may seem expensive for business purposes, it's causing me to make money. I'm using it to make money. So it was a better purchase than something that is not going to make me money.
Right.
So I really like those things. So what else? I know we talked about investing. And
we're still learning.
Yes, we're learning. But it really I think we already were interested in it. And then once we started learning more and viewing more, I think what it did for me is it, like I said before, it just made me less scared.
Yeah. It made you feel more equipped. Like, okay, it kind of gave you not like a step by step, but kind of like a little framework to go by. Like, okay, this is where I need to start. Let me change my mindset. Let me get out of my current thoughts that I got going on and just different frame of mind. And, you know, we just decided to do it. And so far we're doing all right. I mean, so it's still a learning process, you know. If we do the things we did mess up on, then we learn, you know, next time we're going to do this. So it's a learning process.
And more people need to learn about it. I think more women, more nurses. You know, we've encountered people who try to exploit nurses when it comes to investing and dealing with money. People play on that nurses are smart enough to be nurses, but not really that versed in financial literacy. And, you know, sometimes they're not as honest, is what we found. But just teaching yourself, learning about it, is definitely, we can get into that game. I can't wait to see more ladies, more people of color getting into that investment money game. The last thing I wanted to say that I liked, he said that hard times bring about more opportunities. So I took that as meaning, you know, kind of the same thing with the bill collectors. When you fall on hard times, instead of just, you know, bowing down to it and being, you know, not being hopeful, that's the time for you to ramp up, to be like, what can I do? How can I change this? How can I make more money? What can I do differently so next time this comes up, I won't be in this same place? It's really all about changing your mindset when it comes to money.
It's kind of like with a lot of things, you know, it all starts with your mindset. I agree. So overall, would you recommend the book to our listeners?
I would recommend the book, definitely. Like I said, it was controversial. We read it, and some people, you know, didn't think that he was living what he was, what he wrote in the book. But honestly, it's all about what you get from the book, taking what you can get. And honestly, even if he wasn't living, he was smart enough to know that he lost, you know, I don't have this money, but I can tell other people and I can make money off this book. So I think when you change your mindset once again and look at it as, what can I take from it at the level that I am at right now, then I would definitely recommend the book. It was a good book, especially starting out and just wanting to get more involved in investing and making money.
I agree.